Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing? Becky Raney here, and I'm here to talk to you today about the top leadership momentum killers for network marketing. And I tell you, I've done all of these. When you're new to learning something, sometimes I'm just a little slow at learning stuff and figuring things out. But I thought this would be a really good class today to talk to you about some of the great tips that you can use to help influence and help um, rank up and make your team just really impactful and powerful for what their goals are. And so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, and let's see if we can get this over here to that. And so basically, as we flip through the slides here, we're going to talk about all these different things. Um, you know, avoiding the momentum killers of leadership. You instead of doing what you're doing, practice these. We're going to go over belief. We're going to go over consistency, action, continual learning, team culture, resolutions, vision, movement, focus, composure, planning, humility, and connection. And so the first one is the non-believer. Like, oh my gosh, you guys, how many of you have on your team those non-believers, those people who just, oh, it's network marketing and this is just, and no, it's not for me. Let me tell you something. This is, they're out there. Lots of people don't believe in network marketing, but this is the wave. This is how things are going to change, like, no kidding, because of this, the last couple of years, a lot of people lost their jobs, a lot of people lost their income. A lot of people don't actually, they can't trust their job. They can't trust what's happening out there. And it's going to be really important to have a side thing, a side gig going on. And what a better way to do it on your own time, when you have time, as you can work it into your regular schedules as you're raising your family. You guys, everybody, a lot of people are going to be having this type of side gig. And what's so beautiful about network marketing is it is really, it's a residual income. So the little bit of investment you put in now will really actually just pay off years to come. And if you lose your job, it's going to be, your job's not going to be around, right? So um, practice belief. Leaders, believe in the bigger, faster. Like, you want to be able to see the vision, see what's going to happen out there, see as you're working towards your goals and your what rank you want to be, how much money you want to be making a month. If you think that you can get there in a year, I want to challenge you to say there you can get there in 6 months. Why not? And to be able to think about what it takes to be this kind of rank or what kind of steps you need to take to be at that level, if you can believe bigger, faster, it's going to make a huge difference. It's going to make a huge impact for you. And act as if it's already there. Like, you want to really truly act as if you already have reached that rank or reached those goals. And if you think about if you were to be dreaming about maybe at the diamond rank or the level that you really want to be in your network marketing company, if you can really think that right now, like what kind of mindset that person has, what kind of belief that person needs to be taking on, and what kind of belief that they want to instill in their downline. um, how do like, when you think about, like, what does it take to be the president of the United States? What kind of mindset does that have to be? What does it take to run be a big manager of a large corporation or an owner of a large corporation? That's a different complete mindset. Not everybody has that. So if you can think what that mindset is and do all the trainings and all the different things that you need to do to have that confidence and self-belief to be there, get there in your mind now and have that, know that. What do those people say? Who do they hang out with? What do they do in their time? Um, and so you're basically borrowing what that belief is. Like, if you have an upline that's already there, borrow what their belief is. A lot of times when I sit and listen to a lot of the classes that we have, the leadership trainings we do, and we have like a double blue diamond standing up on stage talking, I sit there and look at them in two different ways. Of course, I listen to what they're saying, but I also listen to them as how they're presenting, what's going on in their mind, what did they have to go through to get to that place, What is the roads and the travel, the hardship that they had to go through to actually get to that level. And so if I can borrow that belief and actually live it and believe it and act as if, then I can actually believe bigger, faster. And that belief needs to be unshakable. Like you can't let people bring you down just because of an upset. And I've noticed that I don't like to hang around people that complain. And I have been in my past a big complainer, blah, 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 because that's kind of what everybody does is they all complain about something that kind of makes you feel like you're a bigger person or something, which is just a bunch of bull. And when people complain about something, they're actually looking for agreement. And I would, fall right into that and totally take that on. And that's just not gonna help me become a big leader. So you guys develop unshakable belief like nothing matters. Like people complain about you or they don't like what you did. Don't let that bother you because that's actually their shortcomings or something that they're dealing with in their life. You have to be unshakable. So then, okay, we're going to talk to the inconsistent. Oh my gosh, I've been the master of inconsistency. And you guys, this is something that I've seen. We're developing habits and tips and tricks to be able to keep your consistent day in and day out, even though it's mundane and totally boring. You got to really understand that this consistency and these habits that you're developing are going to be unshakable, that they have to be something you're going to do no matter what. And there's a lot of words around that, like go through and look at your daily method of operations and audit what you do every day. And oh my gosh, I can get squirreled, I can get pulled in different directions, but the discipline that you can be in being able to take that on is going to give you the strength of being a quality leader. What that does is it builds trust, it builds so much influence. People want to know when they hear and communicate to you and when to connect with you. They know that you're active all the time. They do what you do. If they see you're active, they will be active. Even when it comes to consistently posting on social media, you post the same places, same times, the different themes maybe, but they're going to be something that you want to be consistent. And so having like a habits tracker and a schedule and really focus on polishing that up, focus on polishing it to the point of where it's so super shiny that everybody wants to be a part of that. You want to be really consistent in using the products. So for us, every day, what is it that you do on a day-to-day basis? And I would really like you to sit down and write down how are you using the products every moment of as you go throughout your day. So like you wake up in the morning, do you use essential oils when you take a shower, when you brush your teeth, when you wash your face, when you get, dressed, when you there's so many, everything you do in your life, how are you using these products so that you can have these experiences and you can have that consistency? And then you also want to take the consistency for that personal development. It is so important. And I love, for me, my daily method of operation is to do what's called miracle mornings. And Hal Elrod wrote the book, and it's a wonderful book where you talk about, I've mentioned this before, where you do 6 things for 10 minutes. So that's a 1 hour in the morning that for 10 minutes you do prayer, for 10 minutes you do yoga, for 10 minutes you do meditation, for 10 minutes you do writing in a journal, for 10 minutes, you do affirmations. 10 minutes, you do prayer. I can't remember all of them. Did I say everything? But you want to go through, oh, yeah, and 10 minutes for planning your day. And this is so important. I find that I get more inspired when I actually am consistent doing this. And that feeds on itself, where you're actually up to something, doing something, and you're really creating that optimum energy. Where the opposite is when you're getting scattered and you're not focused. Really, people don't trust that. They can feed right into that. And I would have to say that this has been my weakest area of being able to be a powerful leader. And so when I was getting started 8 years ago and struggling and stuff like that, the more I polished this and the more I got focused on this, the more impact that I made. And it's just incredible. So the big talker, how many of you guys have a big talker in your group? Oh my gosh, I tell you what, there's always somebody who can grandstand and think that they're just so smart. And there's that fine balance, definitely, right? And it's just such a put off and everything. But really, instead of being a grandstander, you really want to practice action. So instead of grandstanding, trying to show off that you're doing something really big, what is the action that you're taking day in and day out that actually shows and proves that you're up to something? A lot of people say, look at their feet instead of their mouth. So a lot of people like to grandstand and talk about lots of things that they do, but really, what are they doing? What are they actually doing? Every day I wake up early. I'm on social media, following up with my leads, continuing conversations, making sure that I'm connected to people, doing my social media posts. I mean, practicing, always building and rebuilding. You know, it's incredible how plan, do, review. Every day when you do something and maybe it didn't have such a good day, then review and see what happened, what was part of the issue or what triggered you and how could you rebuild again. And I remember before I'd done this training that I've been doing over the past couple of years, there was this guy, Eric Worre, said, you can tell by the leader, by what brings them down. You can tell the size of the leader by what brings them down. And that really triggered me because I used to get down when I couldn't, when a leader would quit or when something would go wrong or something like that. But I realized that's really what we do. We are always building and always rebuilding. People come and go. And if you can have that strength, that consistency of sticking to it, then people won't question. There's a lot of people that leave different network marketing companies. Oh, well, that didn't work out so well, and they're only 6 months into it. You guys, you have to have some stick to itiveness. You have to be able to have that long term ability to keep doing and keep doing and keep doing and believing in yourself and building and stuff. And all of this process of getting from point A to point B, you may have to rebuild it over and over again. And each time you do, you're going to get more strength, more courage, more skill set to be able to do your trainings, more just everything just comes together. It's incredible. And I believe it's part of the latter step of growing and getting up to those higher ranks is to always build and rebuild, always doing that polishing. There's a really great video series or a movie called The Karate Kid, and I think they came out with Karate Kid 2. I don't know if there's a Karate Kid 3, but oh my gosh, when they talk about what was his name? I want to say David, but I know that's wrong. Daniel. When they talk about Daniel going out there, and Miyagi told him to paint the fence, and he is painting the fence, and no, you paint it this way, and he's holding his hand, showing him how he needs to hold that brush, and then he looked around, and the whole fence is all the way around the yard. He thought he just had a little place to go, right? Just a little part of the fence, and then he finished that, and then he said, no, you got to do both sides. And so when you think about, oh my gosh, sometimes the things that we do are not so fun, but I tell you what, it's part of the character building. It's part of the commitment. It's part of your downline seeing what you're up to and what you're doing to be able to believe in you. And you can't just get to a certain level and quit. And actually it becomes more and more expected the higher it ranks up that I've achieved. It's more important to be doing that all of the time. So people quit, you replace them with someone else. And then hopefully you can actually develop a culture that people don't quit. And that's really the goal here is that as you become a stronger leader, you become more stick to itiveness with your whole team and your whole downline. Stay on the leaderboards. That's so important to stay in the trenches with your team and with your leaderboards. You want to be in action with where the leaders are in action. And also engage and help people have those incentive trips, have all that excitement that's going to happen to ensure all of the great things that can come forward for you. And I think that this is just really exciting to be able to have something for people to look forward to, have something reachable. Maybe it's just a trip to the movies. It could be a trip to another state. It could be just something really simple, or coming to the doTERRA convention. I mean, my gosh, you guys, there's so much opportunity there. So then how many of you have on your team this know-it-all person? Does anybody have a know-it-all? Oh my gosh. And I feel like sometimes you have to know it all before you can do this business. No, you guys. I'm going to tell you first off right away that that is not true. And you want to make it well, you know, be messy. Just get out there and get in action. Don't worry about all of the "Oh, I don't know enough. I don't think I can make this happen," You wanna be professional, right? But we are all professional students. We are all doing this. Nobody knows all everything about the essential oils. And even so, in the medical industry, they're, um, doing all these studies and all these tests and all these things so that they can write up and do, all that great stuff. You want to continuously improve. So practice continually learning through that miracle mornings I told you about, reading a book. And I like to go for a walk and actually listen to a book on tape. And Cindy, my girlfriend, she gave me some books on, um, it's all about boundaries and being able to help you break through these boundaries of people taking advantage of you. And it's really just incredible book. I just really love it. And so always working on continually improving. ITL, anybody knows what that means? It means invest, learn, teach. So the only way that you're going to be able to uh, increase and grow in your training and in your confidence is invest in yourself, learn it, and then teach it so that you can turn this around and actually really I learn best when I actually teach. I remember when we had our print shop and I would teach people how to do something when we were first open, I just felt like I was, oh my gosh, do I even know what I'm doing? And when you start teaching something, it just comes together. Like your words come to your mouth that need to, and you're able then to practice and put that into position of you being a leader, right? Another really good saying is the person who teaches is the person who gets the most attention, or the person who gets the biggest paycheck, because people are paying attention to you and want to buy from you. They want to be a part of what you're doing. You have to be willing to go first. So when you're continually learning, this practice continually learning, you have to go first. Like, what is missing that you just don't wait for your upline to teach you? You need to go through and practice these practices yourself. You need to go through and evaluate with your plan, do review, evaluate what's missing for you or what you don't get, and do the training, figure it out, Google it. I mean, there's nothing that you can't learn on Google. Like, everything is on Google. But you have to be willing to go first and willing to take that step and make it happen. It is a mindset when you're willing to go first. It is something that I can't give you. I can't train you that. And if you're not willing to pick up the pen and start taking notes and doing stuff, then this is going to be an area that's going to be very difficult for you. And you always want to learn from others. I encourage you to get online, go to YouTube, look at different trainings and different things, because sometimes leaders teach things in a different way that you hear it differently. It's like this different level, different onion that they're peeling apart. And like, maybe you're at this level over here with this understanding, this leader, but when they say something different, that completely completed that thought, like that totally helped put it all together for you. So the non-culture club, oh my gosh, you guys, this is just really just impactful for me. When we ran our print shop, we worked so hard to make sure that our staff was on the same page and that we're all working together. We would have team meetings every morning for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, go through our list of things that we wanted to do, what our daily activity was, and we wanted to share with that. So we were creating a commitment and a communication, like it's a culture of working together in communication. And when you are recognizing someone else in front of another person or another manager, your activity, like when you do that, their activity will increase and improve. And it's just really impactful. I just love it. When you're creating a culture that selects and protects. Like we want everybody gets to eat at the table. Everybody has um, an opportunity, and I think it's so important that everybody includes other people. Everybody shares what they've learned. Everybody is able to move the team forward together, and it's much better when we're doing it together, you know? The problem pusher. How many of you guys know this? Oh my gosh. I also think this is a cultural acceptance thing too, where people don't want to deal with it, that they push it off to someone else. And how do you expect to learn if you keep pushing this problem off to someone else, right? I mean, people sometimes just like, oh, well, Becky will figure it out, or, uh, so no, you have to actually, I want you to go back and really show me that you've done the research to solve that problem. I want you to show me that you've gone through and looked at your notes. Where's your organization? Like if you had that habit going through, where's your organization of actually being able to figure it out? Again, find out on Google. The process of doing this and trying to figure it out on your own is the process of learning. It is like seek to understand, right? And if I just told you, oh, here's the answer, you will not remember. I will guarantee you will not actually have that as a complete memory bank thing, right? So as you go through and struggle, and then if you still don't get to it, then we work through together on me helping you find where you can solve that problem, where you can look for those resources, and actually probably the best way, if you have somebody on your team that's doing this, the best way is to ask them questions for them to actually look deeper to see where they can actually solve that problem. So another thing here about practicing resolutions instead of complaining and having problems is solve problems at the lowest level possible. Meaning, again, if you were to look at the rankings and the levels, you want to solve it at the lowest level and at that level of their understanding. Sometimes you can go through, and I'm really bad at this when I'm showing somebody, they ask me a question and I show them all this information, and it's overwhelming. You want to actually just answer the question to the level of their understanding. And you want to solve it fast. Do not avoid it. It's kind of like this big elephant in the room. It just gets bigger and bigger, and you have to take out the take out the trash, right? You need to make sure that it's taken care of right away. Spend 5% of listening to the problem and 95% on solutions. Do not focus on the problem because it will keep you in the dungeon. Don't whine or complain. Who wants to be around a leader that whines and complain? And you guys, sometimes those problems can be so tough. And I whine and complain. And I'm just committed to not doing that anymore. I just totally believe that it's so important to be at a higher level of energy. Like whining and complaining is the lowest level of energy possible. I mean, it really is the negative aspect, the energy drainer. The complainer is the energy drainer. So truly, don't whine and complain. Always, um, you know, come up with the positive idea, like, oh, I don't know about that, but what I do know is, and then help have that pathway together. Don't poison the well. One little negative saying can be so toxic to the whole community. Dentist. And it's so important to make sure that you're able to totally keep that poison out of the well. I mean, that sometimes can kill the whole business altogether. I've had people post negative comments on our chat and different things like that, and I've actually gone through and privately asked the person to take down the post and let's work through it together because we don't want to poison the team with something that could be a simple resolution, just a quick misunderstanding. And you always want to take the approach to the problem solving techniques. Okay, the defeatist. Like this person is the person who's like feeling defeated all the time, like nothing can help them, nothing is, and I actually would actually call this the victim. I think this is actually the victim person. And you want to practice vision. When you have the defeatist or the victim person, is you actually want to share your vision, speak in positivity, speak in excitement. However, you want to know what their vision is too, and join in their vision so that you can help them uplift themselves and be able to raise up and to not have that simple little negative thing that comes along drain them and poison their well. You can actually be the ripple effect, be the sparkler for them, and train them to be the gatekeeper of their vision and the gatekeeper of their excitement about their business. It's all about working together. I have many leaders that like to think that they can do it on their own or that they're expected to, which is kind of interesting. I mean, I can compare different cultures and different team members from all over the world and how a lot of people want to do things independently, which is like so great because that's what we're striving for, right? And but then they take on the approach or the defeated approach. And you guys, we're holding hands on this together. We don't want that's just not a happy place to be. So this is a really fun slide. Don't you like this? It says the passive. This is the person who is status quo flakes. I thought this was pretty funny when I saw this slide. Um, the passive aggressive or passiveness is just also a very low energy level. So I love practicing movement. I love making excitement. I'm very, very competitive. Like if you tell me I can't do something, I would do whatever it takes to prove to you that I can. Like even just doing the unreasonable. Like we have all these reasons why we can't do something. And I think really being unreasonable about stuff is just really impactful. Working hard and setting the pace is also a true value practice to be able to keep that momentum going. It's kind of like when you're pushing the cart, and then you stop. It's hard to get that cart going again. So always keep pushing. Never let your foot off the gas pedal. And, be driven purpose. So having that dream board in front of you and even doing a dream board activity is just a really fun way to keep that momentum going, and having those incentives and having those trips and events to do is really exciting. Go first. Be the one to screw up and then use it as a learning experience. I've always the other day I was doing a video and I tripped on the stairways and I fell flat on my face and dropped the phone during the live presentation. And that's okay. I'm still moving forward. I'm committed to doing a live broadcast every day. And it's just, I get stopped so easy. So I don't know. It's so important to just don't let your fears stop you and just keep yourself in competitive motion. What challenges you? What keeps you in competitiveness? Like, do you like to be incentivized? Do you like to have trips or, and find out what it is of your downline that keeps them going and keeps them incentivized and keeps them competitive. All your goal is to keep your team in movement, to keep your team going, and always have something moving. And I just love our business. doTERRA is just incredible because they have all these incentives happening every month. And, we just got unleashed a whole band of new things this month. And always use those every day. There's going to be a new video from me talking about that new oil or that new incentive and that new this. So it's just really important to be able to keep that going. And lead across lines. Like I have a leader who says, "Oh, I have somebody talking to me and they need me to do this or they want me to do that because their leader's not helping them." You guys, this is paying it forward. This is stuff that's going to be really important. And sometimes it's not possible just because you're what's limit, but still encourage them, still create that hand holding like you're there for them and make that communication just really powerful. The scattered brain. Now, one of the symptoms of having a bad stomach is brain fog. And sometimes I can tell when my stomach is all messed up is when I'm totally scattered. And that is why I totally love my Intune blend. And not only does it smell good, but it's very effective. I just really totally love this oil. And it just helps me from being scattered. And I put some on right before I started doing this video because sometimes I can really squirrel off and go into different directions. I have all my notes to be able to stay on task and stay the course, but I've been able to go through without having any upset or in my mind because I can't remember what I'm talking about. But when you're scattered, you really want to practice focus. You really want to go through, and because a scattered mind is a confused mind. And if you are really scattered, guess what your downline is going to be? They're going to be confused and scattered. So it's so important to have that, go back and have that consistency that we talked about in the slide one. You want to be able to make sure that you have laser focus. What ways can help you stick to a task and stick to your habits and stick to, what is your daily method of operation? Discipline with their intentions. Like if you wanted to do your miracle mornings for your self guided meditation and going through and doing all these goals and your prayers so you can set your day, that should become then your unnegotiable. Like, no, nobody's going to take you out of that game. You're going to be able to play that and listen to that right away. Set target goals. Not only do you want to do them daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, but really focus that, plan, do review, and keep making sure that you're going to be, um, you know, reviewing them daily. Like review them daily. It's so, so important to make that happen. So KPI is a key performance indicator. So you want to look at how to measure those goals and stay focused. Like how is your selling going? How is your team building going? How many people did you enroll in your team? How's the duplication process? What do you have in steps and systems that is duplicatable to make those happen? I was doing an onboarding call this morning with a leader, and he wanted to know how to sign people up, and he wanted a checklist so he could do it effectively. And I'm like, I don't have a checklist on how to sign somebody up because it's always been fairly simple. But that's because I've been doing it for 8 years, right? And so some of those things seem so obvious to a person, but it could be not very obvious to someone else, especially if they're not computer minded. Oh, my favorite, the drama queen. I know a few people like this, and it's the whole world right now is kind of all in drama, right? And it's just so oh, I had a friend one time who shared with me she liked being late for meetings because when she opened the door, people gave her attention. And she realized how rude that was. And when you have drama about something, it's all about you. And that's all people see. They don't listen to the problem. They just see your craziness. So really when you look at this, you want to practice composure. Practice on who you're being. What are you being about it? Are you letting that drama take over in your life? Or are you living your dream? Are you feeding the dream? There's a really good rule here that a story was told when parents go to like their child's baseball game or soccer game, and there's a rule that happened or something, and all these parents are getting mad, running out on the court, yelling at the umpire and getting all upset about things. And the rule of thumb is to take a 24-hour timeout, like give the parents their own timeout. And maybe if you find that you get upset about something, I need to learn this one more, is not to get too upset. I allow things trigger me sometimes. And one of the things is when people don't listen to me, that's a trigger for me. And so, wait, if I were to be sitting in my dream all the time, like, double presidential diners are living their dream. And when you're going through and feeding that dream and living that dream, it's not drama. And so take a 24 time out, go home, think about it, and I'll guarantee you by the next day, it's not going to be as big of an issue as it was during the heat of the moment. On the flip side of that is you do want to deal with issues head on. Do not let them fester. Do not let them boil underneath. But make sure you're taking care of them head on, because the more you ignore an issue, the more it becomes a bigger monster. And we're pre-launching in a market, and We've got employees helping us get product together and packaging things, and sometimes packages get missed on a shipment, and it's really terrible. It's toxic because how are we supposed to how are we supposed to know until it actually reaches the destination and that one kit's not in there or something? So if we deal with it head on and take care of it, like auditing ourselves and making sure everything is there instead of just like, oh yeah, it's there, and not checking, it's not a good thing. So you want to slay the dragon instead of pruning the trees, like they used to say. Is just like when there's a problem, like a bad broken leaf or something or a broken branch, you just cut the branch off, right? Well, no, sometimes it could be a bigger issue, and so you want to actually go after the full issue. So no gossiping. Gossiping is also very toxic. And if you have a lot of gossiping going on in your team, you want to squash this right away. No acceptability. And for me, if I hear anybody gossip, I am going to cut that down right away. It's just unacceptable. Um, there are energy givers and then there are energy vampires. So which do you choose to be? So practice composure, practice your how you're presenting yourself and if you're feeding the dream or not. Okay, so I like this slide. I thought this was a great picture. The hot mess express, right? So practice planning. Oh my gosh. Again, this goes back to the habits. If you're not planning and doing things, then how are you supposed to know which direction you're going? So leaders have simple systems for this. Like, what is your daily method of operation? Do you have systems for your onboarding? Like I was talking about, we're always improving and doing stuff. And I had a new leader ask me about how do you sign somebody up? And so I can say it to him, but maybe if I had a checklist, that would be much more effective for everybody. The core rank, like we have, what's the daily method of operation to reach core rank? What are the goals? What are the skill sets? What is that? We have this wonderful business building guidebook that has all of this stuff pre-thought through in it. It's just incredible. It's just incredible. If you don't have that book, you should get it. And I used to, it was sitting right here. I think I moved it out to another table. But it's so important to have a good checklist and get familiar with it. And the more you do it day in and day out, the more that habit will happen. Leadership development, promotions, there should be like a really great way to onboard and to take on promotions when they come up. So every once in a while, doTERRA will do like a BOGO, buy one, get one free. And it's a surprise. We never know it's coming. But do you have a checklist of what to do when that BOGO comes and all of a sudden you're scattering and trying to figure out how to get things going? So have a promotion checklist. And then when you're going to do events, like if you're having a party or you have a leader having a party, what is their onboarding checklist for them to be able to put on a really effective party? Like how to post it in social media? What kind of artwork is it going to be? What are the hours? Are you going to have food? Do you need to order the food? Do you need it? The checklist goes on and on and on. The high and mighty. Sometimes I've noticed that as we increase our ranks, we tend to feel like we are in, it's kind of like the know-it-all conversation. But this photo I thought explained it really well. You want to practice humility. That ego, when it gets in our way, it's such a turnoff. And sometimes we don't even recognize that it's happening. So that is where having our team calls or actually our one-on-one mentoring is going to be really important here, is that you can keep your ego in check and make sure that you have the skill sets planned out to fill in those gaps so that people say, well, she thinks she's so good about this, but she can't do that. Well, we're always improving. So check your ego at the door. Always, always, always be willing to learn. And if somebody thinks they know something about something that you thought you knew something about, but they really don't, but then you want to say something to them, let it rest. Let it rest. And another thing that I used to hate is when I'm sharing somebody about like my trip to India or all the different stuff that we've done, and they cut me off and said, "Oh, I traveled to Europe," and then they go off and change the subject. Whose ego is going on here? Both of ours. So, practicing the Seven Habits of Highly Effective Leaders is a really good book you need to read, and they talk about how to carry on conversations with people. It's just a really great book. And then recognizing your team members. Every time somebody does an enrollment or does uh, reaches their incentives or the goals that you have. So maybe you have 5 classes this month or 10 enrollments or something, and then they get to that recognition area, recognize them in front of everybody because people love that. And one of the things too is that I put two lavender pictures here because I really felt that it was important that you understand um, practicing humility is not just in your own heart, but it's in others too. And that's what I love so much about it is you can actually keep it in your duplication process and keep it in um, as you train that leader in your one-on-one mentoring, you're teaching them to train their downline. So you're keeping that in that momentum space. The month end money maker. So here's as you're sliding down to the last day of the month, you're like, oh, I got to get all these orders in. You guys, that's part of the planning process is that you need to practice connection. You need to be uh, connecting with all your prospects and all your downline and all your team all month long. I have a daily chat, a group chat for all my team members. And I also have a leader group chat. I have my Facebook page. I have my Facebook business page. And I'm trying constantly, every day, I don't miss to try to post in there something new. What I'm up to, what they should be up to, somebody's birthday. I have that written down too. Every day I should be going through and looking at people's birthdays. So never let your people wander around. Stay in the trenches with them and make sure that you can keep your eye on what they're learning and what they're not learning, how you can keep them focused and how not to. Um, so show up on all the training calls. Oh my gosh. It is incredible. I was talking to somebody today. I'm like, oh, I didn't see you on the call today. He goes, he forgot. Now, do you think a founder, a person as a top leader is going to forget a team call? So think about what your intentions are and what your goals are and what your actions are speaking. Practice this intention, being connected with everybody. It's so important. Okay, so that's everything I covered today. I hope this was valuable and helpful for you. I'd love for you to like this video and maybe post some of your comments about any of these things. Maybe you might have something you would love to add to this that I can add as another bullet point that you think is really important as far as changing your mindset. Instead of having it kill your business, actually practice these things in a different way. So again, like this video, share it, and thank you so much, you guys. All in on oils, and I'm Becky Raney, doTERRA Wellness Advocate. God bless you, and you take care. And I hope that this again was helpful. Take care. Bye.